Welcome on in, race fans, to tonight's event here in Dover, Delaware for the Monster Mile. It is race number 4 on the schedule for the All-American Racing League here in 2025. And we've got a fun one ahead of us. I've parked the camera right here at the most treacherous part of the track, and it will remain so for the rest of the evening. We're looking at the exit of turn number 2 here at Dover Motor Speedway, and drivers are just now wrapping up practice. They're getting their last couple of laps in. A lot of these drivers are getting some mock qualifying runs in, trying to see just how fast a lap they can put down, and we're seeing quite a few of them step over the limit and step into the wall or even each other. Got less than 5 minutes to go before we start up qualifying, and in the meantime, we can take a look at what we're looking at here tonight. It's Dover Motor Speedway, race number 4. As I mentioned previously, on the upcoming schedule next couple of weeks and so on, we've got Sonoma in 1 week's time. That'll be the first road course of the season here in the All-American Racing League. We'll get to put all these drivers to the road course test. There is quite the pileup going on in the background. Week after that, we head to the Charlotte Oval, one of the favorite tracks on the schedule from any driver and fan alike, I would venture to assume. And then we're off for a couple of weeks for the Christmas time, the holidays, the New Year's, all of that. We'll be back on the 3rd of January for Richmond. Tonight, it is just me up here in the booth, not joined by my usual co-host. Me, myself, and I tonight to call all the action here in Dover with all of you along for the ride. We've got 160 laps tonight around the Monster Mile, 160, the same as we had on the previous race in Phoenix. Stages are going to be laps 35 and 80. Stage 1 will be 35 laps long, stage 2 50 laps, and then a long run to the finish. See drivers still pushing the limit out of turn number 2. Should be looking at qualifying in about 2 minutes or less, and in the meantime, we can take a look around the track at some of these drivers. Why don't we start with Joshua Kanata, who, by the way, has won 2 pole positions already this season. Got the pole in the first 2 events at Daytona and Auto Club. Got a top 5 start in Phoenix a couple of weeks ago. And looking to continue that strong momentum. That 16 car has been one of the best, one of the hardest to beat on speed, but hasn't found victory lane quite yet. Is tonight in Dover the night that Joshua Kanata can get it done. A couple of other names to watch. Ryan Rose in the 78 has been one of the top 5 drivers on speed, if you ask me. Could the 78 break into victory lane tonight? Rose is quick enough, and I know he is a road course specialist, so if not this week, perhaps next week in Sonoma, we'll be keeping an eye on that 78 car. Regardless, currently sits P8 on the board in practice to Joshua Kanata's P3. We, of course, have many other names to keep an eye on as we go. Gabriel Ngoli in the 55, not as fast, currently showing P17 in the 55, but Ngoli made quite a show towards the end of Phoenix a couple of weeks ago in that 55. Came up 1 lap shy of winning the race, charging on brand new tires that he had saved over everyone else. Couldn't quite get there. Brought home a P2 in the end, but a good run nonetheless for Ngoli. Could he have another good performance here tonight in Dover? All of that and more remains to be seen. But in the meantime, it looks like practice is just now getting ready to end, and we'll be switching over to qualifying momentarily. A couple of these drivers are going to stay out here and get every lap they can get. Maybe even a couple practice pit stops. We got Joseph Klein, new paint scheme for driver number 5 this week. From the old Hendrick Cars 5 to the old bright yellow. Is it a throwback? Has it been long enough? Can we call this paint scheme a throwback these days? I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old. It is a pretty iconic CarQuest Cheez-It scheme for that 5 car, though, over the years. Matt Semple making some laps on track. Winner in Auto Club for race 2 on the season was Mr. Semple. Currently sits P9 on the board in practice. Circling around in that Bass Pro Shops Camaro. We'll see if Semple can have a good showing here at Dover. I've had the pleasure of racing wheel-to-wheel with Matt Semple around this track on a couple of occasions. Should be a driver to throw his name into the mix if I would have to guess. Alex Fuller in the 45, the driver we started to talk about more and more as the season's gone on. Benefited from some of the late race chaos in Phoenix. Had a strong showing there. See where he can put that Scooby-Doo machine here in Dover. One of my favorite paint schemes out on track. Gotta have something to stand out. Gotta have something a little different than all the rest. And I tell you what, rocking up to the track in a Scooby-Doo machine, especially a Scooby-Doo machine that isn't just Mystery Machine themed, that's pretty cool. Though I would love to see Alex Fuller come out here with an actual Mystery Machine paint scheme. One of these days, that would also be pretty cool to see. I have got to say. Getting word from race control that qualifying will start 5 minutes later than usual, allowing these drivers to get a couple extra laps in at the tail end of practice right here. Final runs, final chance to find anything that they might be missing. Speaking of fast drivers this season, driver number 1, Nolan Milnes, has been up towards the front every single week. Unfortunately, it came to an end last week in Phoenix, taken out, but not to anything of his own doing. Just got wrecked. He was in the wrong place at the wrong time, which is ironic because I think he was running in the top 3. It was really unfortunate for Nolan, but he has been one of the fastest drivers week in and week out. 3 very different tracks so far. Gonna make it 4 tonight with Dover being quite different. So we'll see what Nolan can do. He currently sits P14 on the board in practice. Not as high up as we might expect, but we'll see if that gets turned around in time for qualifying. Jamie Walker, now there's another name. Driver of the number 20 on the scoreboard, but the 88 on the car still. Gotta get that sorted out. Jamie Walker could have won last week in Phoenix, had race-winning speed, but it did not work out for Mr. Walker. It was 2 weeks ago, so pardon my memory. I want to say it was a speeding penalty on pit road for Jamie. It was that or strategy, one of the two. I can remember 1 week ago. 2 weeks ago, you might be asking a little too much. Jamie's going to pull it down for... Ooh! Going to hit the barrels right there. Pull a Tom Richter on pit entry. Not many cars out on track at the moment. Who else could we talk about before qualifying? Caleb West in the 48. On a bit of a longer run right now, staying out despite that nose damage. Trying to see what those old tires are going to do. I love that turquoise color. I don't even know what you call that, like a teal, like a seafoam. Either way, love that color. Very simple paint scheme, very good, gets the job done. Ron Hollifield, never mind. Ron Hollifield took it to the pits. We got Rob Higgs in the 80. Now look at this, we got a Christmas scheme. One of a handful out there. Driver of the 80 Ford Mustang, gonna pull that out on track. And I tell you what, if this was an ugly sweater contest, that one might take the cake. And I don't mean that's a bad paint scheme, Rob Higgs. I just mean it's a very Christmas paint scheme. That's all I mean by that. Can't miss it. Wouldn't want to miss it. Currently sits P15 on the board in practice. We'll see what Rob can do in qualifying, of course. Stoney Benfield in the 75. Driver who's had a little bit of TV time up to this point in the season, driving that bright green and gray Ford Mustang. We'll see what Stoney can do this go around. You can always spot that car because it's got the weirdest number placement of anyone else out there on track. You gotta respect it though. Hey, if the sponsors are willing to pay for it, can't really knock it at the end of the day. Samuel Garcia in the 50. There's a name that was doing pretty good last week in Phoenix. Ran top 5 for much of the event. Had some good speed. It's going to pull off to the side and get a little reset. We've got our season opener winner, the 39 car. of Zachary Wake. Won in a thriller at Daytona. Set the tone for the season. Hasn't quite replicated that same success, though, if I'm not mistaken, things turned out pretty okay for Zachary last week after all the mayhem late race. He'll be looking to score some more solid points, maybe get back into that top 5 crew with a good run here in Dover. He currently sits P13 on the board in practice. Not seeing too many names jumping around right now on the leaderboard in practice. I think most of these times are pretty locked in. Drivers having an hour, sometimes a little more than an hour to set laps means that with the track evolution and the weather evolution over that time, sometimes the track slows down instead of speeding up, meaning the times won't shift too much. We got Chris Lawrence in the 54 out on track. He's going to take a big hit into the outside wall, and that is the end of practice right there. There we have it. Ask and ye shall receive. We're going to jump over to qualifying, and we're going to get some clouds coming in over the track by the looks of it. Got some cloud cover rolling in. That's going to definitely affect how these drivers are, what these drivers are faced with in terms of grip level, and we'll see how many of these drivers catch on. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these guys might push it, given the circumstance, and maybe push it just a little too far. I tell you what, why don't we follow along with Joshua Kanata in the 16 for his first qualifying lap in round number 4 at Dover. It's going to keep a mid to high line in turn 1. That's telling me that the 16 is using this as a warm-up lap more than anything. I wouldn't expect that to be the competitive line. Going to stay up top through turns 3 and 4. Got those tires warmed up, got them heated up, got them grippy, and now it's time for the money lap for Joshua. Going to dive it down into turn number 1, plant it right on the bottom, let it slide up in the middle, and then dive back down to diamond the corner on exit. You want to be towards the bottom as opposed to the top on exit. Very important in 1 and 2. Turns 3 and 4, similar, but you can do it a little higher up on the track like we see from Joshua right there. Good exit, little sideways across the line for Joshua. That's P1 on the board. Ryan Rose going to come out of turn 4, and let's see where the 78 goes. The 78 is going to go P4 after all of these names have been jumping around quite a bit. We're going to jump over to Zachary Wake in the 39. Jamie Walker's top of the board at the moment. That all got crazy and shuffled around. Jamie Walker, Cody Gibson on the front row as it sits. Let's see what the 39 can do for the second lap to the line. Put Zachary Wake in P15 with that one right there. Let's see who else we got out here on track. We've got Larry Bell in the 43 car. Can't miss it. Purple Lightning. This is going to be the completion of lap 1 and the start of lap 2 for Mr. Bell. Lap 1 has Larry P19. Nick Crawford up to P7, completing a lap recently. Alex Fuller going to jump up to P6 on lap number 1. Larry Bell through 3 and 4 for the final time. Let's see where driver 43 can get that car placed. Across the line for Larry, and it is going to be P17. Jump over to the 45 of Alex Fuller. Scooby-Doo Machine currently P6. Let's make it P3. Fantastic run, Alex Fuller. You are on the second row provisionally. Jump over to Christopher Norris in the 38. Ford Mustang currently P13. Let's bring it across the line a second time. And for Mr. Norris, it is going to be P3. Scoot on back just one spot, Alex Fuller, with that performance right there. Jumping over to some others, we've got Brian Zimmerman in the 22. Making his way off of turn 4. This is going to be the end of lap 1. That puts Brian Zimmerman up to P20 through turns 1 and 2. And down the back straightaway for the second time. Keep it out of the wall. Keep that car going. Somehow save that thing. Good heads-up driving behind the wheel. And for the final time off of turn number 4, Brian Zimmerman across the line. Let's get that car put P12 on the board. One more car out on track. It's Tanner Marr in the 4 car. It's Toyota Camry looking for a good run. He is going to be completing his first lap this go-around, get a representative time, and see what he can do on the second go-around. Didn't get off of turn 4 like he would have wanted. It's only going to be P21 on lap 1. See what Tanner could do on the second go-around. This will be the money lap. Five Kings Motorsports founder, if I'm not mistaken. Gonna get a real nice arc off a corner exit right there and to the line. Driver number 4 is going to be starting this race from P18. Not the start he would have been looking for. And we do have one more driver still out on track. Paint scheme hasn't even loaded. It's Mark Arthur, previous winner in Phoenix. Let's see what driver 12 can do. First time across the line for that 12 car. And it is going to be P26. Looks like he might have gone out a little too late. Qualifying is going to come to an end, and he did not have time to get a second lap in. Unfortunate when that is the case. Nonetheless, it's time to get this race going. Take a look at our starting grid. Why don't we? Starting on pole, it is going to be Jamie Walker in the 20/88 alongside Cody Gibson in the 7. Further back, we've got Christopher Norris and Alex Fuller on row number 2. Following that, we've got Nolan Mills, Ryan Rose. They make up row 3. In 7th place, it's Matt Semple, followed by Samuel Garcia in 8th. Nick Crawford and Joshua Kanata round out the top 10. In 11th, Gabriel Ngoli ahead of Brian Zimmerman. Joseph Klein in the 5 car starts P13 ahead of Matthew Pavlik in 14th. Brad Holmes rounds out the top 15 alongside Christopher Puglisi in 16th. Rob Higgs Jr. in 17th. Tanner Marr starts us off in 18th. And, find my button here, Larry Bell in 19th ahead of Ron Hollifield in 20th. Zachary Wake, our season opening winner, in 21st. Caleb West in 22nd. Chris Lawrence in the 54 starts 23rd ahead of Stoney Benfield in 24th. Nicholas Sasek in 25th. Mark Arthur in 26th. Jackson West and Joshua O'Brien round out our field of 28 drivers. All right, most drivers out on pit road and ready to get this show on the road. Race number 4 of the season. After tonight, it'll be 4 down, 20 to go. Already making some good progress through the season. The inaugural, there's a hard word, season of the All-American Racing League. It's been a good show out so far. 3 races, 3 winners. Looks like Jamie Walker is going to have to drop back to the end. The pole sitter is going to be taking a penalty on race start right here. And I believe that is due to an issue with the number being incorrect on the side of that race car. I'll assume that is the case until told otherwise. But I do believe race control was stepping up their scrutiny on race number or driver number mismatching. That might throw the scoring all out of whack. Let's take a look. Actually, you know what? That looks all right. It says we're under caution. Oh, that's because they extended the caution. That would be why. 1 additional lap from race control, 1 additional pace lap, that is. That's going to shake up the start just a little bit with our pole sitter getting a penalty. But for all intents and purposes, everyone on the inside row moves up 1 row from where they initially qualified. That is just how it works. So this effectively puts the 38 car of Christopher Norris on the pole, given that penalty. How race control deems who gets to control the restart remains to be seen, though the first one is always on the starter regardless, so I don't imagine there will be any more trouble to come from it. have some issues for drivers out on track, having issues getting out on track. Not sure what's going on. Technical issues with the sim. Part of life racing here online on the iRacing sim. As much as we want it to be as real as we can, sometimes the technical difficulties, the internet issues, everything and anything will get in the way. With all that said and out of the way, scoring will be telling you a slightly different story. We are technically on lap 2. We had to extend the pace laps. So we'll see if that corrects itself here, as the race hasn't officially started. Not until now. Field is in control of the 38 and the 7. That's Norris and Gibson. And we are going to get this race underway. Green flag is out, and we are a go for Dover Motor Speedway. Christopher Norris in the 38 car is going to be in control of this field across the line for the first lap. Give it to the 38, but that 7 car is close in tow. We can see from on the rear bumper of Christopher Norris, our race leader. Looking back at Cody Gibson in the 7, one of the contenders last week in Phoenix. Very quick driver looking to get his first win on the season. Top 3, maybe even 4. Top 3 going to have a little bit of a breakaway. Ryan Rose got his hands full ahead of some others, but a little further back, you get to the Hornet's Nest, and we've got drivers 2 wide, a couple deep. Joshua Kanata on the inside. That's the 86 of Brad Holmes on the outside in that a Haas Tooling Ford Mustang. These 2 trying to get it sorted out. Joseph Klein in the 5 looking for somewhere through, but to no avail at the moment. 2 wide is hard enough at Dover. You get 3 wide, and who knows what sort of a ride you're in for at that point. Looks like they're going to get it settled out, at least for now. Joseph Klein in the 5. Going to try and make it around Joshua Kanata on the inside. Going to get that position. Joshua just kind of slides in for now. Dover is a very tire-sensitive racetrack. You got to be very careful. And what we might be seeing out of a handful of these drivers is just letting the race come to them. Take it easy early on, don't push the issue. And speaking about pushing the issue, trouble out on track, multiple cars involved. That's the 76 of Jackson West. I think that's Larry Bell in the 43 as well. Caution is out for the first time this evening. And we are going to take a look and see if we can't determine what happened here to these drivers. We're watching along with the 76. Let's see if it started here or with somebody else. I know the 12 was involved, so maybe it was up ahead. Oh yeah, it looks like it started with Larry Bell, actually. Let's get another restart right here. Another replay, rather. That's a Jamie Walker on the inside, initial pole sitter. He's up ahead of what's going on. That brings Larry Bell in the 80 car, wheel to wheel. The 80 car of Rob Higgs Jr. down the front straightaway. It looks like Larry just kind of gets tagged, and that wreck continues all the way up into turn 1. The 12 and the 76 had nowhere to go. Significant damage for Mark Arthur in that whole ordeal. Let's get one more look at it if we can from Rob Higgs. And let's take a look at the roof cam right here, as this kind of happens early on down the straightaway. Watching from on board the 80 car. Just kind of comes up to the 43, maybe trying to side draft, or perhaps not knowing that he was not clear yet. Whatever the case, the 80 gets into the 43, and that is going to send the 43 car along for a ride, sends the 80 along for the ride. A couple other drivers involved, nowhere to go. Unfortunate happening for that group towards the back of the field, but not so rare a case here at a track like Dover. Significant damage for Mark Arthur, who remains on pit road right now. You can see just how much damage is on that Toyota Supra winner in the last event, race 3. We got damage for Jackson West getting repaired. Caleb West in the 48 looking to get some damage fixed. Larry Bell has some significant damage. Rob Higgs made a stop on a pit road as well. Race leader remains Christopher Norris in the 38, led every lap so far. All 6. It'll be 7 this time around. Cody Gibson lurks in P2. Nolan Milnes is up to P3. Ryan Rose in 4th. And Alex Fuller in the Scooby-Doo machine rounds out our top 5 as we run. Biggest mover of the race so far. Give it to Nicholas Sasic back in 20th position. Sasic has got that 21 machine all the way up to P20, up 5 from where he started. Nearly 1 for every lap we've run so far. Jamie Walker, the initial pole sitter. He's up to P19 after taking an EOL at the start of the race, end of the longest line penalty. So if we count him starting back there, technically Jamie's moved the most, but, you know, semantics. Lights are out on the pace car. We're going to get ready to get this race underway. An interesting choice. We're going to change it up already. Christopher Norris in the 38, he's going to elect to take the outside line for this restart. Based on that first start, loved what he saw out of the outside, didn't want to be on the inside any longer. He's going to stick Cody Gibson down there and have full control this time around. Let's see what he can do with it. Into the restart zone we go, and for the second time tonight, we are green. You can see the jump. Christopher Norris gets out front. Ryan Rose going to try and take the opportunity to clear Cody Gibson. Battle for P2. We've also got more battles further on down the running order. These two are going to be neck and neck down into turn number 3. Cody Gibson is going to take that advantage, diving it in real deep. That strings out our top 4. Battle is on for P5. That's Alex Fuller in the Scooby-Doo machine and Matt Semple in that 8 car on the outside. Maybe trying to bring Nick Crawford along with him. We'll see how they get out of turn 2 right here. It's going to be a little tight. It always is at Dover, but that outside line prevailing for the time being. Alex Fuller going to drop 1, maybe 2 spots if Nick Crawford can make this stick in that 74 car. Yes, indeed, he does. Nick Crawford looking to have another good run. That 74 car has been in the top 5 all 3 races of the season so far, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, driver in the wall a little bit further back. That's the 22 of Zimmerman. Gets into the wall just a little bit, loses a bit of momentum, might lose this spot to Gabriel Goli in the 55 off of turn 4. They're going to stay side by side as they make their run further on. Up ahead, Nick Crawford in the 74, not ready to settle, and going after Matt Semple in that 8, but does so on the bottom line, interestingly enough. Not usually what you would go to on fresh tires. And look at Matt Semple fighting for the outside on Nolan Milnes. These drivers are racing quite hard, considering it's lap 12, but every position matters and track position is king. Matt Semple going to try and stick that nose on the outside one more time. We're watching from on board the 74 car of Nick Crawford back here in P6. You can see the top 2 have broken away quite a bit, Norris and Gibson. Continue to watch this battle for P4. Matt Semple gets there on the outside, and you can see just how much of a run he gets down the front straightaway. That's not because the outside line is faster. That's because he puts Nolan Milnes in a very bad spot. Just like right here with Crawford. Milnes can't take the exit of the corner as fast as he wants to when there's a car on the outside. You don't have as much track to work with. You're effectively making the track narrower for the driver on the bottom, and that's why the outside line is such an advantage. Now, of course, you're operating under the assumption, under the hope that that driver on the inside is going to race you clean and isn't going to throw their car up into the side of yours. Some drivers may, some drivers may not. Partially depends on when in the race we're talking. But this early on, you can get away with running that outside, forcing that driver on the inside to run a narrower line, and usually that's going to benefit the driver running a little higher up. Sometimes it's not so simple at flatter tracks, but at a track like Dover, that is the name of the game. If you're going to get passing done, you're mostly going to do it on the outside line. Looks like we might have issues further back. That's the 53 of Christopher Puglisi in the 80 car. Oh, a big hit for Rob Higgs Jr. as well. Chris Lawrence involved in the 54 car. And caution is out for the second time in tonight's event. Let's see if we can't figure out what happened. It looked like it started with Puglisi in the 53. We'll take a look. Slow motion off of turn number 2. It looks like the 53 was just washing up the track, got way too tight. That's that turn 2 exit I was talking about. Same thing happened to Zachary Wake in the 39, who piles in as well and just kind of finishes the deal for the 53. That's a terminal hit right there to the inside wall for the 53. You can see Alex Fuller, I believe that is, Caleb West in the 48. It's a little loose, trying to avoid what's going on. The 80 car is kind of out of control. Stoney Benfield is going for a ride at the moment. The 80 just takes a big hit. That might be terminal as well for the 80 car. And then the 54, just to top it all off, Chris Lawrence gets sent for one final spin. That damage will not be terminal, but it won't be great. You can get one more replay right here as the field, much of the field makes their pit stop. Let's take a look at the onboard shot from Puglisi. Just when you thought it was over, the 80 car comes flying on in at full speed. All that said and done, race lead still in the hands of Christopher Norris, who has been holding off Cody Gibson up to this point. The top 17 drivers, everyone back to Tanner Marr, yet to make a pit stop. Everyone 18th on back has been on pit road at least once. It looks like most of these drivers who have been on pit road have sat there long enough to have damage to be fixed. We're talking Caleb West, Joseph Klein, Zachary Wake, Chris Lawrence, Jackson West, Stoney Benfield, Rob Higgs, Christopher Puglisi. Shane Johnson had some technical issues at the start of stream. Larry Bell, Mark Arthur, Joshua O'Brien. All cars who have received damage at one point or another, whether in these cautions or solo incidents. That wall will reach out and grab you at a track like Dover. They call it the Monster Mile for a reason. You can be leading this race, and one slip of judgment, you've got some wheel damage you're managing the rest of the way. Not the case so far for Christopher Norris, who has taken that. Is there a sponsor on that car? On the side of that car? cnorrisphoto.com. You got to put that on the hood. Unless he's advertising. Hey, I mean, if there's sponsors watching, you want to sponsor a race car here in the All-American Racing League, I don't know, that hood's pretty clean. Pretty clean, pretty empty. I don't know. He's leading the race. He's doing a pretty good job. Somebody come sponsor that 38 car. Lights are out on the pace car. Cody Gibson down to the inside. Christopher Norris, the control car on the outside. Matt Semple going to be restarting P4, but with an advantage being the leaders on the outside. We'll see what Semple can do with this run right here. Into the restart zone we go, and we are green. Great jump for Christopher Norris. On the outside, Cody Gibson stays alongside for the most part of Matt Semple. They're going to go wheel to wheel down into turn number 1, and Milnes might be looking on the outside. Looks like Semple's going to have to cover that off, and down the back straightaway we go. Couple of drivers touching the wall, no harm, no foul. Gibson holds on to P2, and the battle is on for P4. The 78 of Rose on the inside, Milnes and the one on the outside. Don't count out Crawford in that 74. Brad Holmes up in the picture as well. Keeping it close, fighting for every position we can. Remember, stage 1 ends at the conclusion of lap 35. We are closing in on those stage points. Crawford to the outside of Rose. For P5 out of turn 4, he's going to have a run down the front straightaway. We'll see what he can do with it down into turn number 1. Rose is going to drift up the track a little bit. He's going to try and get a diamond even from the bottom lane. Doing a good job trying to defend from down there. Though you are at a slight disadvantage, it looks like he's going to lose that spot. Can Brad Holmes peek a nose in there? No, he can't. And Rose is free to jump back up the track. Christopher Norris holding on to the race lead ahead of Cody Gibson as we run. But that Flamin' Hot Cheetos Chevy Camaro is hungry. And I'm not talking about hungry for Cheetos. He wants that race lead. Cody Gibson putting the pressure on big time. It won't be too long before Gibson's got to look in his own mirror. So he's going to try and get this move done before that happens. And it looks like Gibson wants to try and make it happen on the outside. He could have taken a peek to the inside. Did not fancy his chances, but now he's going to have a great shot. He's not going to take it. Norris had to get out of the gas big time. On exit of 2, got way tight right there. You could see it from that onboard shot. Gibson didn't like the run he had. And a little further back, Mills going to work over the inside of Semple. Try and get up here. He's going to drive it in way deep to clear the 8 car right there and put his sights further ahead. Speaking of, Gibson's finally going to peek to the inside. We'll see if he can get a good enough run off of turn 4. That 38 car is getting a little bit tight. Might be a little blood in the water for that 7 car to take advantage of. They're going to go wheel to wheel through turns number 1 and 2. Off of the corner, Gibson can't quite clear. It's going to bring the 38 in for one more shot, but I don't think he's close enough. Gibson might clear. The 38 drives it in a little deeper to try and keep it planted. He's not going to do it. Further back, they're side by side. Crawford, Milnes, that was close. Crawford might lose that spot to Semple. And all the while, Cody Gibson has taken the race lead. He blocks an outside charge from Norris and give control of this race to Mr. Gibson in that Flamin' Hot Cheetos car. It might not be over yet. Nolan Milnes is looking for an opportunity to take over second place from Christopher Norris. As we work 8 laps to go at the line in stage number 1. Watching from on board, Nolan Milnes in the 1 car. Going to take a look down to the inside. Going to have a great run down there. And probably clear through turns 3 and 4 right here. As the run goes on, that high side becomes less and less preferred, especially if you've been using that right front tire. That car starts to get a little tight. They call it plowing out of the corners. You can see Crawford taking quite the arc through turns 1 and 2 right there. He's going to get a monster run. Take it to the inside of Norris. He's going to make that pass look easy. Move Crawford into the top 3. Having a good run further back. Matt Semple starting to struggle. Perhaps the 8 car used too much tire early on, and now he's paying the price for it. He's got the field stacked up. Him and teammate Brad Holmes on the inside. Nobody else has anywhere to go, and oh, don't look now. Here comes Jamie Walker. Pole sitter for tonight's event. Started at the back with an EOL. Now he's up in the points and looking for more. Finally, Semple falls further back. That's going to allow Walker through, maybe even bring Alex Fuller as well. A couple of these drivers desperate for a way through. Brian Zimmerman, nowhere to go behind the 8 car, just stuck losing position after position on the inside. That's going to hurt that 22. Semple just a sitting duck at the moment with the tire situation being what it is. Walker to the inside of Brad Holmes. That'll be for P6 as we run. That's quite the kerfuffle we got going on, and we got to be careful on corner exit here, guys. Got to make it to the end of stage 1 to score points in the first place. Looks like everyone's kind of getting it sorted out. That's the 50 of Samuel Garcia. He's up to P9 after getting around Semple. Joshua Kanata in the 16 looks to take that final spot in the points. And he's going to get there up into 10th. Finally, Brian Zimmerman in the 22 sees some light ahead of him. Man, Matt Semple is struggling big time. I'm not sure if it's just tires or maybe Matt Semple got into the wall hard enough to cause some slight suspension damage. Whatever the case, that 8 car drops like a rock in the closing moments of this stage. Going to continue to battle it out with the 22. Up front, Nolan Milnes has been chasing down Cody Gibson with a fury. But does he have enough time? It's going to be 1 to go in stage number 1 at the line. Milnes taking a beautiful arc off of the corner. He gets a great run down the front straightaway. but Cody Gibson is running a good race of his own. Further up the track we go with Milnes, looking to dive it down, diamond it again, gonna get a good run down into turn number 3 for Milnes. He's gonna try and get to the outside, maybe cross over. You can see him sacrifice middle corner speed to try and get that run, but it's just not going to be enough. And Cody Gibson, with that, is going to be our Stage 1 winner, holding off the hard-charging Nolan Milnes. Whole lot of action for the first stage of the race. Cody Gibson is going to score 10 points. Nolan Milnes scores a handful of points as well. Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, Ryan Rose, that's our top 5 through stage number 1. Jamie Walker claws his way all the way back up into P6. P7 for Alex Fuller. We've got Samuel Garcia in the 50 car in P7. Brad Holmes, or excuse me, it's the 50 car in P8. Brad Holmes in P9. Joshua Kanata in P10. Matt Semple, the first car out of the points with that late fall in stage number 1. Drivers getting ready to dive down on pit road. Many of them for the very first time. Just about every single car out there on track going to follow that 7 car on down pit road. All in one big line all the way back to Goalie in the 55. See how this all shakes out. See how close some of these gaps are. Crawford all the way up on the back of the 1 car. Gonna park it in his box. Huh. They need to change where they need to change the lines on pit road. Apparently that's his box, but I don't know, the lines say otherwise. Let's take a look at pit exit and see who gets out first. Great exit for Nick Crawford. It's not going to be good enough for the race lead. It's close. Gibson holds on. Milnes, Norris, Rose, Walker, Fuller, Garcia, Kanata, Holmes, Semple, Klein, Zimmerman, Marr, Wake, and the rest. Roughly in that order. I called them as I saw them. Gibson remains in control of this race. Milnes drops a spot. I guess it depends on which lane Gibson's going to choose, but falling a spot could benefit Milnes if Gibson chooses the inside. It'll benefit either Milnes or Rose, 3rd and 4th. You choose the outside, it's Rose. Inside, it's Milnes. We'll see. We know Norris preferred the outside line earlier in the race. Across the line we go to cut the lights out of that pace car. And by the looks of it, Cody Gibson's going to start on the inside. Does not mind starting on the inside, so that's going to put Nolan on the inside right behind him. He'll be able to get a good launch. We'll see what Nick Crawford can do now on the front row for the first time tonight. Nick Crawford, by the way, is up 7 positions from where he started. Driver of the 74. Has had a phenomenal season up to this point. It's just a matter of time before we see Crawford in victory lane, if you ask me. As a matter of fact, you could say the same thing for everybody in the top 5 at least. and there's more in the field as well. Based on what I've seen out of 3 1/4 races so far this season out of the All-American Racing League, number of these drivers capable of going out there and winning on any given week. Very competitive series. Very entertaining. Had the honor to share the track with these guys in preseason. A lot of talent out there. Race is in the hands of Cody Gibson. Flamin' Hot Cheetos number 7. Nick Crawford on the outside in the 74. Into the restart zone we go. And Gibson is on the loud pedal. Crawford doesn't get the start he wanted. That's going to allow that inside line, Nolan Milnes, Jamie Walker, to make up a little bit of ground early on in this restart. Battle is already on for a couple of rows deep behind the race leader. Can Nolan Milnes clear for P2? He's going to be neck and neck down into turn 3, and Crawford is going to fight tooth and nail for that track position. He is going to get in on the outside, not afraid to use those tires. Rose into the wall. That is not an insignificant hit for Ryan Rose in the 78. He should be good to recover from it, but he does lose that spot to Jamie Walker in the Mountain Dew Camaro, who is now going to try and work over Nolan Mills. Walker was the fastest driver in practice, fastest driver in qualifying, and he is up to P3 as we run. Two more drivers to chase down in Gibson and Crawford. A little bit further back, Alex Fuller has his hands full with Joseph Klein in that 5 car, who's been making his way up through the field. Klein is up 5 positions from where he started this race and looking to make it more. Garcia in the 50s trying to follow him through. See Matt Semple in the 8 car back here. As, another close call for the 78 of Ryan Rose, just sideways off of the corner. Great save from Rose. He's got Kanata on the outside. Nolan Mills dropping back early on in the run right here. Perhaps a little bit of tire saving management early on in Stage 2. Stage 2 is longer than Stage 1. Stage 1 was 35 laps. We're looking at 50 for Stage 2 in total. So definitely a little bit of strategy to be had amongst these drivers. Closest battle on track right now, it's Matt Semple, Alex Fuller. Battle for P10 as we run. Semple to the inside, might just get there. Fuller is going to go ahead and let it go for now. Slide back into line. That puts all of the top 10 more or less in a single file line. Couple of breaks in the action. Up front, Cody Gibson continues to lead, but Nick Crawford looking for any way around. Take a look from on board. Cody Gibson back at the 74, who, by the way, is also running from the 20 of Jamie Walker. At the moment, pretty dead even the top 3 as they run. Seem to be pretty equal on speed. We'll see how that plays out over the course of a run. Matt Semple starting to claw his way back up through the field in the second stage of this stint right here. Second stage of the race, phase 2 of the stint, I guess, to avoid confusing names. Kind of have the launch, the initial restart, and you've got about the next 5 to 10 laps after that, and then we're into long run territory. Looks like Matt Semple's pretty good on this in-between stage. Trey made up his time last time. He's just got to be careful on those tires this go around. Tried to work over Samuel Garcia to no avail a couple of laps ago. Further back, Zachary Wake, Christopher Norris having a battle right here. Christopher Norris, speeding penalty, I do believe, on pit road under caution. That's why that 38 car is all the way back here in the field. Currently P13. Had to start further back than 13th, but he's made his way up a handful of positions up to this point. Unfortunate issue to run into early on for the 38. Norris is having a great run so far. He's making up positions left and right. He'll be back in the picture before we know it. Tanner Marr, Gabriel Ngoli, the 4 and the 55. Two drivers that I think we'd usually expect to see running a little further up in the order. Trying to figure it out here in Dover. Figure out what they're missing, figuring out what they need to do. They're trading places, crossing each other over. Trying to find some sort of a rhythm. That brings most of the field just about level, but might not be for long. Jamie Walker closing in on Nick Crawford in the 74. Let's watch on board. Jamie Walker here, driver of the 20. Mentioned it a minute ago, fastest in practice, fastest in qualifying. And now with an opportunity to go up there and challenge the race leaders. Some will say Jamie should have won last time we were out in Phoenix. Can't say last week, it was 2 weeks ago. But it didn't pan out for Jamie. Maybe today is redemption. He's able to close in really good out of turn 4. It's going to start putting the pressure on that 74, maybe pack the air on that spoiler. Try and unsettle that Toyota Supra just a little bit. But Nick Crawford's not going to make it easy. He's going to run his race, do what he's got to do, and hope that these two both start reeling in the 7 car of Cody Gibson, who continues to lead this race, though he is not walking away as we stand. That gap remains about even. Up towards the front. Got to jump a little further back for the closest battle on track, and boy, is it. Brian Zimmerman in the 22 trying to come back at Christopher Norris in the 38. He's not going to get there. And Norris checks one more position off the box of his recovery drive here in stage number 2. We'll have to see, we'll have to keep tabs on this 38 car, see how his tires are doing later on in the run, having to make his way through so much traffic. A little further up the pack, Brad Holmes in P7, driving that 86 Ford Mustang. He's trying to hunt down Ryan Rose in the 78, who's had an interesting start to stage 2, I would say, a couple of close calls. But he's got a rear view mirror full of that bright highlighter yellow number 5. Joseph Klein has shown some flashes of speed so far this season, looking to get a good result here in Dover. Only a couple of positions outside of the top 5 as we run. That battle between Gabriel Ngoli and Tanner Marr has brought Zachary Wake into the fold, or rather they've caught Zachary Wake, one of the two. Make that a 3-car battle. Scrapping back here for P14 on track. One of the closest. To the inside goes Gailey on... Goalie, excuse me, on Zachary Wake. Got their names mixed up. Not quite gonna get there, and keeping an eye on battles further ahead. It looks like Joseph Klein is going to get to the inside of Brad Holmes. Maybe a crossover down the front straightaway. And now into the corner. That 86 tries to pin it on the inside. Can he keep the nose there? No, he can't. Door is going to be slammed shut. Give the position to the 5-car up to P7. And now with a little bit of wiggle room up ahead to try and chase down Ryan Rose. Up front, the leaders have begun to get spread out just a little bit. You can see the gap now between all of the top 3. Cody Gibson in control of this race. Nick Crawford in second. Jamie Walker in third. Nolan Milnes, Joshua Kanata, Ryan Rose. And the rest all making their way on through. Got another close battle between Semple and Fuller. Looks like Semple's going to let that one go and tuck in behind and just try and follow Alex. See what he's doing perhaps. And look at this. Christopher Norris in the 38. He's still making up ground, still pushing his way up through the field. He's up to P12. He's going to look to make it P11 on Matt Semple before too long right here. It looks like he's still got the pace. That 38 car is... he's going to put up a fight to the end. He's not rolling over yet. That pressure is on for Matt Semple. Going to see a big old rearview mirror of that Ford Mustang. Might not fight it too much based on what we saw with Alex Fuller. Right on board with Christopher Norris here as he tries to chase down Matt Semple. He's going to get that look to the inside. Driver out of Pittsburgh takes it to the inside. He's going to try and make it stick. He's going to have to get out of the gas big time. That's what we were talking about a little earlier, where the driver on the outside has the advantage, making the track narrower for whoever's trying to pass him on the inside. And right there, that was a beautiful example. Making Norris work just a little bit harder to try and get that position. Back to the drawing board and back to setting up that pass. A little further up, Brad Holmes. He's got his own issues. Teammate of Matt Semple. Alex Fuller putting the pressure on. We'll see what that Scooby-Doo machine can do to get around Holmes here, as most of the field has gotten spread out. However, as this battle's going on, so too is this one. Jamie Walker closing in on Nick Crawford. Cody Gibson has stepped out over a second ahead of Crawford. Could this be the point in the run where Crawford's tires are starting to go away just a little bit? I was wondering who of the top 3 was going to be the one to hit that tire fall off the quickest. Might just be Crawford falling into the clutches of Jamie Walker. Gonna bring that Mountain Dew Camaro closer and closer. Just waiting for the opportunity. Once you're up into the top 5, top 3, the track position becomes that much harder to gain. And this would be a big pass for Walker's chances at winning this race. He's going to get to the inside. He's going to clear down the front straightaway. Brief touch with the wall, but right back into rhythm goes Jamie Walker. And now he's got one car ahead of him to try and chase down for the race lead. He's got about a 1.5 seconds to go. And we'll keep tabs on that one. Christopher Norris working over Matt Semple yet again. Still hasn't gotten this pass done. He's looking to make it happen. While we were watching the race leaders, Alex Fuller has made his way around Brad Holmes. That was a battle for P9, and it has changed hands. Norris still unable to make his way around that 8 car. Kind of stagnated his run at the moment. Brad Holmes into the wall. Just a little bit right there. Most of the field's gotten pretty spread out. Most of the way through stage number 2. Got about 18 or so laps to go in this stage. Really starting to see the tire fall off now. And who our comers and goers are in regards to managing the longer stints of a race. Gibson, our race leader, Walker, Crawford, Milnes, all in a bunch. Got Kanata and Rose on an island. We've got Klein, Garcia, and the rest. Fuller, Holmes, Semple, Norris, all trying to chase him down. You can see just how spread out the field is here. Looking at the entrance of turn number 1. There's not really too much of a gap before you've got the field coming back around again. Race leader right here. And all over again. Oh, big issues into the wall. Is that the, that's a lap down car of Jackson West? That's Jackson West in the 76. Big hit in front of some of the top 5 runners. Walker on an island. He's trying to chase down Cody Gibson. He's cut about a 1/10 into that advantage in recent laps. But we've got to take our eyes a little further back because Brad Holmes is starting to struggle. And Brian Zimmerman of the 22 has entered the picture. Once behind the 38, has now made his way past the 38, past the 8, and now past the 86. Brian Zimmerman makes up 3 positions in the last handful of laps. And that 22 car is now back inside of the top 10. And looking to continue to go forward. Saved some tires big time for when it counted. And he is going to try and take that advantage as Christopher Norris makes his way around Brad Holmes in the 86. And leaves the Bigfoot team just behind. Set sail ahead. You can see just how different these cars are driving. Zimmerman able to pull this much of a gap already. The 3 behind struggling to get around one another. It's quite a difference you can make in saving tires early on in a run. And waiting to really start using them. And getting the lap time out of them. These two going at it. Looks like Semple is going to work over teammate Brad Holmes. Move himself up into P12. All the while, the gap is closing up ahead. I don't know if it's closing fast enough. Got 11 laps to go in stage number 2. Watching from on board, Jamie Walker. Let's take a look at the last handful of lap times. They're very even for the most part. Across the line this time. And that's going to be faster for Walker. So if it's green, that means Jamie Walker was faster. If the number is orange, that means Jamie Walker was slower. And by how much? That last time around, it was just about even. 1/100th of a second faster than Cody Gibson. We'll see across the line this time. On lap 76. Going to be 0.06 of a second slower So Cody Gibson's doing enough. At the moment. Or pardon me, I have that backwards. It's hard to read these sometimes, all right? Hard to read these sometimes. Give me a break. Orange means Walker's faster. I think that's how I'm supposed to read this. It's a little confusing. Listen, you get the idea. You can just we can just look at the eye test. He's slowly closing in. I don't think it'll be enough, though. Getting there and passing is a whole nother thing. We've got 8 laps to go in stage number 2, and oh my goodness, what do we have here? That was a little dicey. Lap car of the 21 just getting out of the way, and Zachary Wake hard into the wall, the 39 car, trying to make up a couple positions right here on Semple and Marr. Marr is actually moving up in the field as we run, but man, Zachary Wake took a hard lick into the outside wall. Wonder if that'll be affecting that 39 car at all. We switched over right at the height of the chaos. Tanner Marr trying to work over Matt Semple. This is a battle for P13 on track. Zachary Wake made it through, took over P12. And they're still not going to be done with it quite yet. Vastly different lines being run, but Matt Semple's going to hold on to that position for the time being. Tanner Marr's got to find his rhythm, set up the pass once again. Though I think that 4 car is driving a lot better than that 8 car at the moment. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one be changing hands before too long. 5 laps to go in stage number 2. Oh, Matt Semple hard into the wall, comes across Tanner Marr, and hard into the inside wall. Caution is out just before the end of stage number 2. Significant damage for Matt Semple in the 8 car. We were watching that one live. And let's take another look at it. Why don't we? Coming through turn number 4, very easy to lose the car right here. This is a good view right here. Matt Semple just tight, just way too tight, washes into the wall, out of control. Tanner Marr has got nowhere to go with that 8 car coming down across his nose. Very hard hit for the 8 onto the inside wall. Tanner Marr's got nowhere to go. Just along for the ride. That's not a negligible hit for Tanner, but I don't think it'll be race ending by any means. The 8 car is going to have a lot of work to do on that race car, and importantly, we need to take a look at what's going on up front, because we've got pit stops. Even though the stage has not officially ended, the stage officially ends at oh, pardon me, I think it did. I might have had the wrong count there. Stage ended at lap 80. Stage is over. I think the caution came out right on time. I might have been operating under the wrong information. Either way, we're on pit road. The entire field for the second time. Gibson let him in. Is Walker going to lead him out with that number 1 pit stall? Yes, he is. Number 1 pit stall comes in. Walker, Gibson, Mills, Kanata, Crawford, Rose, Klein, Garcia, Fuller, Zimmerman, Norris. That is our order off of pit road. I'm not seeing any speeding penalties lighting up at the moment. Do have one for Nicholas Sasek in the 21 car by the looks of it. Couple of drivers getting some damage fixed on pit road as we turn our attention to stage number 3. We are racing to the end of lap 160. 160. Currently working lap 83. By the time we get this race restarted, it'll be 85. With about 75 laps to run. And I don't believe these drivers can make 75 laps on fuel, which means at least one more pit stop before the end of the race. Well, I tell you what, why don't we dial up our stage 1 and 2 winner, I suppose. We've got Cody Gibson, driver of the Flamin' Hot Cheetos number 7. Cody, you've been in control for most of this race. Went out there, got as many stage points as you could, but you can't deny that number 1 pit stall, and it worked out for Jamie. Now that you don't have the track position, do you still feel as confident? Do you still feel like you can go out there and win this race? What's it going to take?
I mean, I feel pretty confident it is going to be hard to pass, and Jamie ain't... You don't sleep on Jamie. I've known him for a long time. He is fast. He started in the back, and look at him. He's up front already, so... I guess I'm going to try to save my tires the best I can and still be behind him and go from there.
10-4 on that one. Well, I tell you what, you're going to have a great opportunity from the front row. We will we'll send you back down to the team. Good luck in the rest of the event.
Thank you.
There we go. Driver of the 7 Flamin' Hot Cheetos car. You heard Cody Gibson mention he's raced Jamie Walker quite a few times up to this point in his sim racing career. A handful of these drivers who have more experience with each other and less with others. It's been one of the more interesting storylines to watch here in the All-American Racing League this season. The coming together of a number of different drivers, a number of different groups in its inaugural season. Pockets of drivers who are familiar with others, some who aren't. Put on a pretty dang good show through 3 races so far. All right, lights are officially out on the pace car. They extended the caution long enough to end the stage officially. And with that, we are going to be restarting. This time by field is in the hands of Jamie Walker in that Mountain Dew Chevy Camaro. Cody Gibson on the outside, going to be restarting in P2. Row number 2 consists of Nolan Mills, Joshua Kanata. In row 3, Nick Crawford, Ryan Rose, Joseph Klein, Samuel Garcia in row 4. And rounding out the top 10, Alex Fuller, Brian Zimmerman. Field doubled up all the way on back. And with that, starters got that green flag in hand. And we're getting ready to go as the leaders approach the Echo Park restart zone. All at the hands of Jamie Walker up front. Onto that loud pedal one more time. And stage 3 is underway. We've got issues up towards the front. Everyone's got to check up big time. And there is a monster stack up in the field. Alex Fuller gets a bad deal out of it. I think it started with Nick Crawford in the 74. We'll queue up a replay in just a moment here. Once we feel like everything has settled itself out, as all of the race leaders try and get figured out where they want to be running. Some pressure on for P2 at the moment. But it looks like these drivers are all going to have themselves sorted out more or less. Crawford and Zimmerman battling now. Damage on that 74 car. Interesting. Damage on the 74. We'll definitely need to queue up a replay right here to see exactly what happened on that restart. Ooh, hard into the wall for Brian Zimmerman in the 22. Hard enough to maybe cause some damage. 22 is going to go up high and out of the way. That 74 car is through. Could Zimmerman have acquired a little bit of suspension damage? The hit was certainly hard enough for that to be the case. Little battle further up. Garcia in the 50. Going to work over Milnes on the 1. He's going to try to, at the very least, to the very inside. Down into turns 1 and 2. And he is going to get that spot. Nolan Milnes not going to put up too much of a fight early on the run. And now might be as good a time as any to go back on this restart. And let's take a look right here at what happened. Watching the 74 of Crawford. Oh, it was an issue with Nolan Milnes in the 1. Nolan Milnes had some sort of issue. Let's ride on board with Nolan. Okay. It looks like Nolan tried to time the restart, and he had to let off of the gas after he punched it, and that caused that stack up. Nobody wrecked, nobody went around, there was no caution, but it looks like Nolan tried to time that restart from the second row and caused the stack up when he got out of the gas right there. Unfortunate for drivers such as Crawford and Fuller, who got the worst end of that, though everyone did keep it going. Back up front with our race leaders as we run. Jamie Walker in control. Cody Gibson trying to put the pressure on. Deeper down in third, Joshua Kanata. Very quiet race so far tonight for driver 16. He's up 7 positions from where he started and running healthily in the top 3. Biggest mover of the race, couple positions back, it's Zachary Wake in the 39. Caution is out, as a matter of fact. Hold that thought. Issues for Klein and Zimmerman on the front straightaway. Drivers 5 and 22, both top 10 contenders so far tonight. And this is going to mix things up just a little bit. Let's take a look at what happened. We can already see how close they're racing. This is out of turn number 4. Looking at the 5 and the 22. And it looks like the 22 gets a little loose. The 5 is coming up the track. And it looks like 2 drivers just coming together. We'll get another replay of this, but let's see as they impact the wall right there. Very big damage on the 5. That's actually going to negate the damage for the 22 for the most part. I think the 5 absorbed the brunt of that impact. Let's take another look from a different angle right here. You see the 22 is a little sideways. The 5 is coming up the track, trying to maintain somewhat a normal line, maybe a little tight, and they just kind of get together at a bad time, in a bad spot. And the 5 definitely absorbs the brunt of that. Everyone else, almost everyone, yep, everyone else makes it through. I think that was Pavlik taking a wild line down to the inside. And look at this, split strategies. The top 2 bring it down onto pit road, and many drivers elect to stay out. Let's see just how this shakes out. We have our former race leaders, along with about half of the field on pit road. We've got the other half electing to stay out for track position. 9 drivers have stayed out on track. Potentially 10, including Tanner Marr, though Tanner Marr does have a penalty showing at the moment. Unsure what that would be for. We'll see how that plays out. But this means that Joshua Kanata in the 16 is the new race leader. Joshua Kanata, Ryan Rose, Samuel Garcia will be in control of this race. Jamie Walker, Cody Gibson, they entered in that order. They exit in that order. Interestingly enough, Ron Holifield takes 2 tires. So of the drivers who pit, Ron Holifield goes for some track position, taking only 2 tires on that stop. He's going to join Walker and Gibson as the first drivers off of pit road. Tanner Marr does bring it down this time around, so it will be 9 drivers operating on slightly older tires. How much of a difference will it make? Remains to be seen. But if you're Joshua Kanata, you might be feeling pretty okay about this move based on what we've seen so far tonight. The 16 didn't quite have the speed of the 20 or the 1 car, but if he can put 8 cars between him and them, that might be enough to give him enough time up in front for those tires to equal out just a little bit and give him a chance to potentially win this race. We're about to get back to green flag, running under caution for the 5th time tonight. It's going to be restarting on lap 97 out of 160 for tonight's event. Previous race leader Jamie Walker is going to restart in P10. 10th place on back, operating on fresh tires. The top 9, Kanata all the way through Pavlik, operating on older. Here we go. Field is in the hands of Kanata in the 16. Ryan Rose in the 78 shares that front row. Green flag is out. And let's take a look from the sky. Kanata gets a beautiful jump, and there's problems further back. Issues for Cody Gibson in the 7 car. One of our previous race leaders goes around in a stack up, and the caution is out yet again. Not what Kanata wanted to see. Let's queue up a replay. Let's queue up a replay and see what we can't see. There was clearly a stack up. It's already happening. And it looks like Gibson gets the worst of that stack up, gets some front end damage, gets hit from behind, and that just sends him around. Excuse me. Not at full speed, mind you, so the damage isn't as bad as it could have been. But why don't we take a look at a little further up. Let's go leading into this restart right here. This was one of the drivers who was a little further up. I want to say Pavlik in the 30. Let's take a look at the blimp cam. And we're going to see where the stack up starts. It's on the inside line, watching the 39 car. The top 2 get going. The 39 does not. The 48 does not. And the 30 goes. So the 30 of Pavlik starts going before the 48 in front of him. That causes the stack up. The 48's actually still not going. So I think this started with the 48 car. Let's take one more look. And let's watch from on board if we can. I'm going to pause it real quick. Pardon the not very professional camera work here. On board with the 48 car of Caleb West. It looks like he has some gearing issues. It looked like Caleb West had some gearing issues. He was either in way too high of a gear or he couldn't get the car in gear. But I would say that would do it. That would certainly do it. So the 48 car had issues on the restart. Out of gear. I mean, if it was out of gear, I feel like the revs would have been bouncing off the limiter. I feel like that's usually what you see if it's out of gear or not taking correctly. It's almost like the 48 was like in 4th gear still, but even then there wasn't really a lot of throttle input. So it could just be technical difficulties as well. Whatever the case, I'm sure they'll get it all figured out. All the while, we've had a number of drivers make their way onto pit road once again. A couple of drivers who already pit come back down. Jamie Walker, for example, he was up to P8 after that. He came back down a second time. Alex Fuller comes down. This field is shaking up quite a bit. Most of those drivers who just came down on pit road elect to pit one more time. Could that be topping off fuel to make it to the end of the race with a little stretching? Could that be the window that we are now in with about 60 laps remaining? Very possible. We'll have to see. The drivers of the track position elect to keep that track position and hope for a long enough run and then a caution to benefit these guys. We'll see. It was just a top off on fuel for Jamie Walker on this last caution. Back into the restart zone we go. And once again, let's take a look from the air as Joshua Kanata is going to hit the loud pedal. Ryan Rose gets a good jump on the restart. Let's hope it wasn't too good. And it looks like the field is going to be quite spread out down into turn 1 as opposed to the last time around. Battle is on for P2 between Rose and Garcia. Down the back straightaway we go. Kanata in the lead as we run. Rose trying to put the pressure on Garcia, trying to keep it pinned on the outside. He's going to have to go way up the racetrack as Rose pushes him up there. He's going to clear off of turn 4, and don't look now, but Christopher Norris has entered the picture once again, driver of the 38. looking to put some pressure on these three. He's got a little bit of damage he's working through. But it looks like everyone's up to speed, all fine and dandy as we run. Jamie Walker showed to be the fastest car earlier on in the race, made his way up to the lead, and then mayhem ensued. He's in P10 at the moment, working on fresher tires than some of those around him, though that track position loss is going to sting quite a bit. He's working over Gabriel Ngoli in the 55. Trying to get that position taken away. He's going to stick it around the bottom as good as he can. He's going to take that spot, maybe look for a little bit more. This time on Ron Hollifield, who's working 2 tires. He'll get that spot and put Walker up to P8. It's going to be a fun perspective on these new tires. He's going to look to take over the next spot from Wake, but no, Jamie Walker is saving fuel. Jump on board and listen to that engine. Jamie Walker cutting off the engine to save some fuel, so there you have it. These guys are indeed trying to make it on fuel. Anyone who just pinned on that most recent caution, they're going to try and stretch it just a little bit. Make sure that they're good to the end, and these drivers who stayed out for the track position, namely Kanata, Rose, Garcia, Norris, and Milnes, they need another caution lest they have to pin under green later on. They're going to be hoping to run maybe another 10 laps, 10, 15 laps, and then get a caution. Put them in a really good spot to capitalize on their track position and get some tires and be good to the end. We'll see how that plays out, but Jamie Walker has made his way up into P5. He's cleared the Hornet's Nest, and it should be smooth sailing from here. For driver 20, a little further back, they're still going at it 2 by 2 by 2. Goli, Holmes, Fuller, Marr, Crawford, Hollifield. This battle of 6 drivers right here. Goli in the 55 is going to try and get clear and run away. Alex Fuller not going to let him. Going to take that Scooby-Doo machine down to the inside and continue to battle it out for P8. Little loose for Nolan Milnes up ahead. Keeps that car going. And these two continue to battle it out. They've got company in the form of Nick Crawford, a driver who's shown top 3 speed earlier on in the event, trying to make his way back up through the field. Cody Gibson, stage 1 winner, trying to make his way back up through the field, caught in a bad spot on the recent restarts. He is up to P13 and looking to make it a couple more positions. It looks like he's got whatever damage he had fixed. He's just got the track position issue, as do many others. Eyes back up front. Jamie Walker has made the move on Christopher Norris. It's P4 now for that Mountain Dew Camaro as he chases down the top 3 drivers making a run for it. Garcia putting the pressure on Rose, and Kanata holding on, just running the race that he needs to run at the moment. In P1, enjoying that clean air. Best spot in the house. A lot further back, we got Matthew Pavlik making a move on Stoney Benfield, attempting to in that 30 car, but it looks like the 75 might have the spot. Maybe this was the other way around. Could have been the 75 getting around the 30. Both cars with some damage. Trying to survive the rest of this race. This is back here in P18 as we run. Walker's closing in on the top 3 lap by lap, even saving fuel. He is playing both cards, fuel saving card and catching back up to regain his track position. Might be the best of both worlds for Walker. Top 3 are going to be hoping for a caution pretty much from any point right now. These top 3 drivers want a caution before Walker gets ahead of them. And that'll kind of equalize the field, equalize the running order just a little bit. Got a couple of close battles going on. Zachary Wake, Cody Gibson. Wake currently holding on to the final spot on the top 10. Though he does have some front right damage, Cody Gibson is going to take that Cheetos Camaro down to the inside and take that spot over a little further up. Nolan Mills working over Christopher Norris, and that's going to be good for P7. That one car also operating on just a little bit of damage. Tanner Marr quietly up into the top 10, having survived some of the carnage, bringing that 4 car up the field bit by bit, position by position. And he's looking good for one more. Back up front, the action hasn't ceased. Jamie Walker has made his way around Garcia. Garcia gets tagged by a lap down car, and more issues. Alex Fuller hard into the wall, and another week. Was that the 76? I believe it was. That is another week of the 76 getting a little too dicey with the race leaders. He's just going to plow into that outside wall, get into Gabriel Ngoli, or excuse me, Samuel Garcia. Alex Fuller's got nowhere to go. He's trying to slow down enough. He just loses the car to the inside. Alex Fuller was having a phenomenal race. I really feel for Alex Fuller right there. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the onboard from Alex. He's just trying to slow down. He's maybe expecting the 76 to go down to the inside, whatever the case. When he finally gets off the brakes, he just loses it to the inside. It was highly, highly unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. And you should be able to expect better out of drivers who are off the pace or off the lead lap. Down on the pit road, this is just what the top 2 needed. Garcia wished it might have happened before Walker got around him, but nonetheless, I think this will be good for Kanata. Rose might be overtaken here. Let's not forget that Jamie Walker has the #1 pit stall. So Jamie Walker's going to have an advantage. And oh, by the way, 2 drivers electing to stay out on track, Tanner Marr and Cody Gibson. A couple of Five Kings Motorsports teammates up front. They are going to stay out. They last pit on lap 96 for Tanner Marr and 99 for Cody Gibson. We'll be working lap 119 next time around. So we'll see how that plays out. Is Ryan Rose actually going to win the battle off of pit road? I did not see this happening. Ryan Rose jumps Joshua Kanata, who maintains ahead of Jamie Walker. Great pit stop from Rose in the 78, though he will not be the control car. That puts him in a very good position. This is what it's going to be looking like. Couple of old tires on the front row. And then new tires on back. Ryan Rose, Joshua Kanata. Going to be the first 2 on new tires. Jamie Walker, Nick Crawford. Going to be the next row on new tires. How is this restart going to pan out? Races in the hands of Cody Gibson on the outside. That should benefit Joshua Kanata in the 16, though those old tires through turns 1 and 2 could very well be a recipe for disaster. Lights are out on the pace car, and we're going to get this race underway once again this time around. Old tires on the front, new tires all the way back. This should be interesting. Into the restart zone, Cody Gibson has control on the field. And onto the loud pedal we go. No wheel spin, a little bit of wheel spin for the top 2. They're not going to get too far away. Tanner Marr with a fantastic restart on the inside. He is going to hold on in first place, but Ryan Rose going to try and get a line to the inside. Jamie Walker now neck and neck with Kanata. Walker is going to benefit from how this is playing out. Rose going to push Gibson up the track just a little bit. Take that 78 back down and looking down the front straightaway. They are so close. Caution is out yet again, however, and we have issues somewhere on track. It's the 30 of Pavlik, the 75 of Benfield. And let's see if we can't figure out just what happened here between these guys. It looks like the 30 car is just kind of losing control through turn 4. Slides down. Stony Benfield's gone nowhere to go. 30 car just already along for the ride. Let's see if we can't take a look on board the 30 of Matthew Pavlik. Turn 2. And down the back straightaway. And this is... just loses the handle. Loses the handle, slides down the track. Nowhere for Stony Benfield to go. Unfortunate deal for the 75 right there. Number of drivers elect to come down on pit road. Christopher Norris leading the bunch. Benfield, Pavlik, Jackson West, drivers with damage, also down on pit road. Number of drivers who have had to park it or take it behind the wall due to terminal damage at various points in the event. Tanner Marr on those older tires continues to lead this race. Cody Gibson is in third on those older tires. Ryan Rose will be on the front row on very good tires. Jamie Walker will be restarting in P4 on newer tires. I would imagine Tanner Marr might take the outside for this restart, depending. He is teammates with Jamie Walker in that Mountain Dew Camaro. We'll see how that plays out. Working lap 123 next time by at the line, out of 160. Drivers should be looking good on fuel. No more pit stops required, though. If these drivers have any more sets of tires lying around, I wouldn't be surprised to see them use it if the opportunity presents itself. Lights should cut out of the pace car this time by. And we'll see what the choice is for Tanner Marr in P1. Looks like he's going to keep the bottom line and give a little bit of help to teammate Cody Gibson right behind on those older tires. Ryan Rose has got to be feeling pretty good about this if he can nail the restart in that 78 car. Mentioned it at the top of the show. Ryan Rose is one of those drivers I expect to get a win before too long. Will it be tonight in Dover? Sitting in a real good spot to make it happen. This could be the very last run to the end of the race. Lights are out on the pace car. Field will be in the hands of Tanner Marr on the inside line, driver number 4. He is on older tires, as is the Flamin' Hot Cheetos number 7. First 2 cars on the inside, working on old tires. We'll see how long they can stay up front. Though surely they'll be hoping for some more mayhem. Pace car pulls off. And we get ready to get this underway once again. Let's take a look from the sky and let's watch. Through the restart zone we go. It's a good restart for the bottom line and a very bad restart for the outside line. Joshua Kanata takes it 3 wide down into turn number 1 on those new tires. Can Kanata in the 16 keep it pinned? Gibson washes up the track. He gets a little tight. Rose has to get out of the gas. And Kanata now has the opportunity to lead the charge. But Gibson is in the way. Kanata can't make anything happen. And Rose back around the outside in the 78. He's going to try and make it work somehow. Old tires are in the top 2 positions on the restart. Finally, Rose gets to the outside. of Kanata. No, I thought he got to the outside of Gibson. He did not. He's going to look for it this time. They're going to go 3 wide yet again out of turn number 4. Kanata looking for it on the inside. He's finally got a spot. Rose is going to have to follow him on through as Gibson fights for his life to defend. Kanata is through in the 16. Rose is through in the 78, and now Tanner Marr is sweating, looking into his rear view mirror. Here comes Garcia in the 50, who is notably ahead of Jamie Walker. Kanata gets sideways, trying to go for the race lead, and we are 2 by 2 most of the way through. Kanata now to the inside of Tanner Marr, once again looking for the race lead, trying to use those newer tires. Will Rose go 3 wide? He looks for it. He can't get there. Kanata to the race lead. Tanner Marr slides up the track, and now the 16 car is free to go, but they're battling, they're bumping, they're banging Tanner Marr to the inside. The 74 up the track. Nowhere to go for the 1, for the 86. For many others, chaos and pandemonium down the front straightaway, and we have ourselves the big one here in Dover. All right. Well, let's rewind the tape. Let's rewind the tape and see what we got. Close wheel-to-wheel battle. Tanner Marr and Ryan Rose. It looks like there's some slight collision right there. Not actual collision, but a little bit of netcode, which is an internet thing. That sends Tanner Marr up into the wall, and then it's a chain reaction. Garcia's got nowhere to go. These two are going to come together. Nick Crawford, just unfortunate placement right there. Absolutely nowhere to go. That 74 is going to come up. The 50 hits the 86, who hits the 55, who hits the 1 a little bit further back. All the while, the 74 is in front of the field. The 86 has gone nowhere to go. The 1 is just sliding into it. The 38's getting a part of it right here as well. Tanner Marr's parked it on the track at this point, and these guys are just trying to make it through. The 48 gets a little tag. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's take another look right here. Why don't we ride on board with Tanner Marr, driver of the 4 car. And you can see it all continuing to unfold ahead of him down into turn 1. Matt Semple in the 8 even got a piece of that at some point. What a catastrophe. That'll do it. That's a Dover special right there. Joshua Kanata leads this race. Ryan Rose in 2nd, Jamie Walker in 3rd. As we run, Brian Zimmerman. Say hello, P4. Gabriel Goli up to P5. Very quiet night for Goli in the 55. Made his way on up, survived the carnage. Christopher Norris in the 38. Zachary Wake in the 39. Ron Hollifield, Nicholas Sasick through P9. Cody Gibson in P10. Had an opportunity to come get those tires. And now he will be on a tire advantage. Will driver number 7 from this point onward. Same could be said for Jackson West on the 76. Matthew Pavlik in the 30. Assuming they didn't use their last set, they were on pit road for quite a while getting some damage fixed. All eyes return to the 16 and the 78 once more. Joshua Kanata in the 16 is going to be hoping to give Brian Zimmerman a good launch on the restart. He wants to keep Jamie Walker in the 20 car as far away from him as possible, given Walker has shown race-winning speed early on in this race. Kanata has the advantage of track position. He does have control in this race, and most importantly, he has less than 30 laps to go. He will have to fend off a hungry Ryan Rose in the 78, but all he needs is a good jump, and that'll be the most important factor Pace cars getting ready to pull off of the racing surface, put this race back in the hands of Kanata in the 16. And once again, let's get this race underway. Great launch for the 16, but the rest of the outside line does not go anywhere, and that is going to help Ryan Rose and Jamie Walker down into turn number 1, though Kanata has half a second on the field entering turn 1. That's how good a restart the 16 car got. Here comes Jamie Walker to the inside of Ryan Rose in the 78. Can he drive it in deep enough to keep the spot? Yes, he can. No contest as Jamie Walker now sets his sights on the race leader. One driver to beat. Joshua Kanata looking in his mirrors, not who he wanted to see chasing him down, but he will have to try and do everything he can to keep Jamie Walker behind. Jamie Walker already closing the gap to the rear bumper of that 16. He wants control of this race. He wants that track position, and he is willing to use the tires to get there. Through turns 1 and 2 we go for another time. Jamie Walker looking to the outside, maybe looking to get a run down to the inside. Can he make it work entering 3? He's going to have to bide his time just a little bit longer. The pressure is on for Kanata. No mistakes now. Run your race, hold your line, and don't let Walker have a nose in there. Kanata doing everything he can in that Toyota Supra. Big hit into the wall for Walker. That's just what Joshua wants to see. Keep cool under pressure. Make Jamie make the mistakes as he continues to put the pressure on. Out of turn number 4, a little bit of breathing room for Kanata. A little bit further back, Cody Gibson in the 7 making his way up through the field. Now the driver on the freshest tires is Cody Gibson in that number 7. He is up to P6. Now looking to take over 5th from Brian Zimmerman. If he can get there, he will indeed. Zimmerman goes way up the track and out of the groove. That's going to give the advantage to Gibson in the 7. Move him up into the top 5 on those new tires. All the while, eyes are glued up front. 23 laps to go for Joshua Kanata. For Jamie Walker. These two have broken away by about a second over 3rd place Ryan Rose, holding off Christopher Norris as they run cross the line this time, make it 22 laps to go. Oh, by the way, Cody Gibson on those brand new tires. He's in 5th, and he'll be up here before too long. He's already working over Christopher Norris for P4. Those new tires are going to play a pretty big deal, pretty big part. Though Christopher Norris is not on tires as old as some of the others around him, based on what I'm seeing on the pit stop information right here. He'll be looking pretty good as well. Gibson is around. He's got a clear Rose, and he'll have the battle for the lead ahead of him. He is going to close in very quickly, and already down to the inside goes Gibson, putting those new tires to work. Is he going to clear through 3 and 4? He's going to do his best to, and yes, he does. Cody Gibson now sets his sights on the battle for the win. Joshua Kanata in the 16 continues to hold off Jamie Walker. Walker has had to ease off the pressure just a little bit as we work 20 laps to go. These drivers have to keep the tires underneath them. It's a long enough run that we will see some tire fall off, especially if they're pushing it hard on the short part of the run. Who manages, who defends, who plays their cards right. Dover's not an easy track to make passes on, though some drivers tonight have certainly made it look easier than others. Joshua Kanata enters a little bit high in turn number 3 right there. Whether by design or otherwise, Jamie Walker's going to see that as an opportunity. Down into turn 1 we go. Cody Gibson has already closed in on the race leaders, and this battle is just getting started. Cody Gibson to the inside of Jamie Walker for P2. 2 teammates going at it. Is Walker going to let him have it? Yes, Jamie Walker goes ahead and slides back into P3. Move Cody Gibson up into the runner-up position. One more car to go. Cody Gibson has 12 lap newer tires. than Joshua Kanata in the 16, and you can see how much more speed he's got on corner exit as he looks to try and find any way around the race leader. Off of the corner into the line, it's going to be 16 laps to go. Cody Gibson tries to look to the inside. Kanata throws the block, finally, reluctantly, lets him have a peek. Gibson gets into the quarter panel, a little bit of contact, but they keep it going. And down the back straightaway, Kanata knows Gibson is there, and Gibson knows that he's got Kanata right where he wants him on those newer tires. 12 laps difference. He's going to get the run down the front straightaway. Another block from Kanata down into turn number 1. Do they hold on to it on entry? Yes, they do. And don't forget about Jamie Walker running in P3 at the moment, just waiting for his opportunity. Side by side, down the back straightaway. Is this the run Cody Gibson's been waiting for? Through 3 and 4, Kanata tries to keep it pinned, but those tires just can't hold on. Cody Gibson into the race lead once again tonight, bringing those new tires to the party and showing everyone what's up. 14 laps to go, and Cody Gibson is walking away from the rest of the field. Joshua Kanata, Jamie Walker can't do a thing about those newer tires. Ryan Rose back in 4th, Christopher Norris in 5th as we run. Unless we see another caution, we may very well have just watched the run to the checkered flag, the run to victory. Looking for his first on the season, looking for his first in the All-American Racing League is Cody Gibson, driver of the 7 car, trying to put Flamin' Hot Cheetos in victory lane. Much to the chagrin of Joshua Kanata. Going to be thinking about what could have been. He's now under pressure from Jamie Walker yet again, though this time it's going to be for P2. Kanata's going to be doing everything he can to keep himself in this position, because you never know what could happen, and that track position is everything. This fight is not over yet, and they might bring Ryan Rose into the picture. That 78 car has been closing in on these two for a couple of laps now. Can't be ruled out of a potential podium spot. Next time around at the line, it's going to be 10 laps to go in tonight's event. And this is the closest battle on track right now. Battle for P2 between Kanata and Walker. Kanata consistently running a little bit higher on the track, being a little more aggressive on the diamond. Walker running a little bit more of a traditional line, keeping that car glued to the bottom. Still diamonding the corner, though not as noticeably. A little bit of lap traffic for Cody Gibson to make his way around. Up front shouldn't cause too much of an issue, just one car. We've got Kanata and Walker. They're going to catch the 76 at a bad time. The 16 catches at a bad time. Walker's going to have to sacrifice a little bit of entry. Right there, they get around to the 76. And Kanata still holds the advantage at the moment. Walker gets a little sideways. Rose is closing in even more. Ryan Rose has an opportunity to get up here and battle for 3rd or even 2nd position at the rate they're running. Cody Gibson in the lead, running away, but not in another zip code yet. It's not over until it's over. How much tire did Cody Gibson use to get the track position with those new tires? Issues for the lap down car further back. And it looks like the gap is opening up just a little bit between Kanata and Walker. Has Kanata saved a little bit for a final push in the last 10 laps here? That we shall see. A little further back, we've got a battle as Brian Zimmerman chases down Gabriel Ngoli. A little bit of contact on corner entry. Battle for P6. On the run, Zimmerman trying to take this spot over. Ngoli trying to secure another solid point stay for that 55 car. Zimmerman's going to have to slot back into line right there. Give the advantage to Ngoli. And this will have to be set up one more time. Up front, though, Kanata's back under pressure. Jamie Walker might have just needed to cool those tires off just a little bit. but he is all over the back bumper of the 16, and Ryan Rose not too far behind. It's going to be 4 laps to go at the finish line this time by for Cody Gibson. 4 laps to go, all 4 of our top 4 in frame, and the battle is on for the podium. Kanata continues to run that higher line. Walker just wants to get a nose on the inside. Jamie Walker can just get that nose on the inside. He might be able to disrupt Kanata just enough to make it work, but Kanata is running a phenomenal race right here. If not for Cody Gibson being off sequence on those new tires, this would have been a fantastic defense for the potential race win. Can't take anything away, even though it ends up being for P2. Hard into the wall goes Walker. That's one of the best defensive drives I have seen. Out of the 16, and he continues to hold on. 2 laps to go. All we got to do is make it around this time, and this race is official. As that white flag gets ready to get thrown in the air, and yes, indeed, Cody Gibson's going to take that white flag. Final time around, and this race is official. We'll continue to watch this battle for P2, though it looks like the job has been done. As Kanata pulls a little bit of a gap on the final lap, we move to P1. Cody Gibson, who controlled this race early, got caught behind the 8 ball, but guess who's back? Winner in Dover. Driver out of Colorado Springs takes home the checkered flag for his first career victory here in the All-American Racing League, first of the season. Cody Gibson makes it 4 different winners in the first 4 races. Joshua Kanata holds on ahead of Jamie Walker for P2 and 3. Ryan Rose and Christopher Norris round out our top 5 unofficially. All right, let's see if we can't pull up some of our top finishers. That is not the one I'm looking for. Here we go. All right, we've got our P3 finisher, and I believe Stage 2 winner, Jamie Walker. You were also the pole sitter, though that was a bit of a weird situation. Jamie, you look like you had the car to beat at various points throughout the race tonight, and through all the mayhem, through all the shuffles around under caution, and with the strategies and everything getting out of whack, you just didn't have the right track position at the right time. Was that the difference? Is that what you needed?
Yeah, both the track position and also I also needed some tires there at the end. I just had no tires there for Cody.
Fair enough. That's certainly how it goes at times. I tell you what, between last race at Phoenix and here at Dover, that's 2 weeks in a row now, 2 out of the 4 that you've come out here and kind of put yourself in the conversation as a driver who's going to be a contender for race wins on speed week in and week out. I'm sure we'll be able to expect to see you up front more often, though next week we are going to change it up a little bit. We're going to Sonoma for the first road course of the season. How do you feel about a track like Sonoma?
It's definitely technical, but I've done pretty good there in past races, so I may run pretty good.
All right, that's what we like to hear. Well, I tell you what, Jamie, great run tonight. It comes up with a P3, good points on the board. I'll open up the floor to you, my friend, to give any shout-outs, hays, highs, thank yous, and all of the sort.
First, a big shout-out to you guys up there in the booth. You guys do an outstanding job. Can't thank you guys enough. Can't thank Cody enough for inviting me onto this league. I know I've missed first few weeks, but I'm really enjoying what we've got going on here right now. And then, of course, everybody on my pit crew with the Mountain Dew.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again, Jamie. We'll send you back down to celebrate with the team. And that moves us on over to our runner-up finisher, driver of the 16, Joshua. I said it just a little bit ago before the checkered flag, but that was one of the best defensive drives I've ever seen. It's unfortunate that it wound up being for P2, but walk me through that whole last part of the race. Kind of when you took that strategy decision to go for the track position, that is, excuse me, and kind of control the race from there.
I was hoping maybe we would get either one more caution with maybe 15, 20 to go. I knew that was Cody's last set, or maybe he'd have a little bit more trouble getting through the field. But from there, I was just trying to hold on best I could. Defend it as long as I could against Cody. But I mean, fresh tires here is going to be everything. Holding off Jamie was definitely not easy. He gave me everything he could as well. So glad we were able to hold on to P2, and we're getting closer.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, it was a great defensive drive to see, and new tires are no joke around a track like Dover. I tell you what, we're looking at your name rail right now, and it says The Accountant. Can I ask where that nickname comes from?
Yeah, my old job up until about a month ago was as an accountant, and I've always been good with numbers and stuff, and helping other leagues with like their money and whatnot and all their points. So everyone just kind of that. You can thank Nick Crawford for that. He's the one who made this paint. So that's just kind of what they call me. I don't do it anymore, but yeah.
I love it. Incredible. Gotta love a good nickname. I'll try to remember that one for future broadcasts. So I'll tell you what, you've been I would say one of the top 5 drivers so far this season through 4 races on speed and kind of names that are in the mix. Next week we get to change it up just a little bit. We're going to a road course, Sonoma. It's personally my favorite road course, but how do you feel about it?
It's definitely a fun one. Road courses, I'm usually more on the consistency side as opposed to outright speed. Just hoping for a solid top 10, keep the thing on the track. Obviously, we know Sonoma, it's very easy to get the car a little bit upset going over the hills. So just try to keep it in one piece, keep it out of the dirt, and we'll be good.
Absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, good run tonight on that runner-up finish. I'll open up the floor to you, Joshua, to give any shout-outs, thank yous, hays, and highs.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for putting this on. It's always fun to watch back. Everybody who's watching, can't do it without you guys. Everybody puts this league on, and everybody that was racing out here tonight, it was a ton of fun up there at the front, and hope to see you next week.
All righty. Congratulations again. We'll see you on the next one. And that brings us to the big race winner on the day, Cody Gibson. We talked to you a little bit earlier on in the race, and I'm glad it wasn't a commentator's curse because you got it done. You got those tires when it mattered. You were able to drive up through the field. I tell you what, having the newer tires is one thing. Making all those passes is another. When you took on that final set, Cody, did you think that you would have a realistic shot to get by everyone in time?
I mean, I think I had a pretty good chance, but I didn't think I was going to catch the leaders because I figured I would have burned them up trying to pass the cars to get to them, but it worked out, and some cars was generous and just stayed on the high side, and I appreciate them for doing that. They gave me the opportunity to kind of save some of the rubber and not push very hard. And yeah.
Well, it was a job well done. It was quite the final run to call there coming to the end, and I tell you what, you finally get your name up there in victory lane. First win on the season, first win in the league, given it's our inaugural season, and we get to switch it up and go to a road course next week in Sonoma. I've raced you on some road courses here and there, but for those watching at home, how do you feel about a track like Sonoma for next week?
Well, I mean, you know how I race at road courses, and I'm not very good at them, but if I put enough practice in and try to stay on the track, I can see myself getting a top 10. And like you said, it's a brand new series, brand new league. We don't know how some of these other guys are at road courses. I know I raced with Jamie in the past in road course. He's fast. Then we got Mark. He's pretty fast at road courses if he's able next week. But yeah, to be honest, no, I'm not looking forward to it.
Fair enough. Got to respect the honesty. Well, I'll tell you what, you're able to get a win now before we go out to a road course, so that's got to have you looking good for the rest of the season. I tell you what, I'll open up the floor to you, Cody. Give any hays, highs, thank yous, and shout-outs.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Mark because he got wrecked out and he was kind of spotting for Tanner. Then Tanner got in a wreck, so then he moved over to me, and I appreciate everything he did. He was helping me out, trying to save tires, just in case there was a late race caution. I still had the better rubber. All my teammates over there at Five Kings, and you up in the boot, putting this thing on, and all the drivers that showed up to help put this league on and give a good showing. But I appreciate everything.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again, Cody. We'll send you down to celebrate with the team. And with that, we are a wrap for tonight's event. Race number 4 on the season is in the books. And I tell you what, all of the through 4 races this season, I can't believe how much action we've had. It feels like every single one of the races has been action-packed all the way up to the very end. It has been quite the show that we have seen, not just Daytona, but Auto Club with the fuel strategy, Phoenix with the varying tires, Dover with the varying tires, multiple cars battling for the win. Some really impressive stuff happening here at the All-American Racing League. It's time for our final running order. However, Cody Gibson, our big winner on the day, Five Kings Motorsports driver out of Colorado Springs. In second place, it's Josh Kanata in the 16, and Jamie Walker rounds out the podium in third. Ryan Rose, driver of the 78, brings us home in P4 ahead of Christopher Norris, who had a solid top 5 run tonight. Brian Zimmerman, in, I believe, debut, finishes P6 ahead of Nolan Mills in 7th. Gabriel Goli brings us home in 8th ahead of Zachary Wake in 9th, and rounding out the top 10, it's Stoney Benfield. In 11th, it's Ron Hollifield at the line. Nicholas Sastek brings us home in 12th. Matthew Pavlik in 13th. Jackson West finishes 14th. Caleb West in 15th. Matt Semple, driver of the 8 car, 14 laps down in P16, ahead of Nick Crawford in 17, Tanner Marr in 18. Brad Holmes, driver of the 86, finishes in 19th, ahead of Samuel Garcia in the 50. Alex Fuller brings us home in 21st. Joseph Klein, 22nd. Chris Lawrence, driver of the 54, in 23rd. Shane Johnson in 24th. Christopher Puglisi rounds out the top 25, followed by Rob Higgs Jr., Larry Bell, Mark Arthur, and Joshua O'Brien. All right. Race 4 done and away. Next time I see you guys will be 1 week from now at Sonoma Raceway for the first road course of the season. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the action here on the Cyber Thunder Broadcasting Network. Thank you from everyone here for tuning in for tonight's event, and we will see you in 1 week's time.